The FBI first started to seriously kill me in Denver, and this is what happened. I was at a shelter, Catholic community, or no, not Catholic, Catholic charities shelter in Denver. I came out. I was under investigation. Everybody there was working for the FBI. Everybody there had family members that have died or something, and supposedly I'm responsible for all of them. And I didn't know any of them, and I didn't know what was going on. I came out of the shelter. I mean, as far as I know, everything was fine. I came out of the shelter, and all of a sudden, there was the streets was swarming with FBI cars, and they all had blacked out windows, and they were just swarming up and down. I'm like, and I had a habit of talking out loud, and they could hear me. Somehow they have some kind of microchip in me or something. I don't know what it was, but so I'm like, or maybe it was my phone. I don't know. But I was like, so I said, "What the hell is all this? Did somebody I know die or something?" And just so happened that right at that exact time, the two guys that were living in my ceiling for so long, Kip and Clark, who I know them as, drove by in this work truck, or it was not a work, it was some kind of truck, and they honked the horn right after I said that, and they both looked at me. And I took that as a yes, somebody I know just died. Then I continued on to Wally World, and this is where things really started to get weird. There was a little show called Almost Live, a great show, funny as hell, maybe funnier than SNL, and it was really a great show. There was this, The Voice, Pat Cashman. All of a sudden, he's following me along the side of the Walmart, and he's talking to me in his funny man voice, that he does. And it made me feel really uncomfortable because he kept walking next to me with like 4 or 5 other people, and he just kept talking to me almost like a stalker, sort of. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. This guy ended up giving me poisoned bologna sandwiches in Arkansas. Anyways, I got the hell out of Denver. I wanted to go because I was sick of being abused by all those women. And what they did was they all of a sudden they started putting numbers on the showers, see? Because they were planning on poisoning me to death there. And so I didn't know it then. So I got onto the train, Amtrak, and I went to Chicago, and I was going to see the Field Museum. I wanted to go see the Ghost in the Darkness. I never made it there because my cousin Randy's girlfriend or wife poisoned the hell out of me in this nut ward in Chicago. She poisoned me really bad. I was dying, doing a lot of praying. I got into the Greyhound, and I continued on down, and I was on my way to Arkansas, and I went down through, I think I stopped in, like, where was it? Tennessee. I saw Kip on the bus. He was a black man. He was in the left-hand row, sitting behind me. I saw him watching me. And anyway, so I finally got to Arkansas, and I ended up going to the shelter, and the shelter, they were gonna kill me in the shower. They're like, "Oh, you gotta take a shower every single day. It's a rule." And so I'm like, okay, that's fine. I didn't know they were gonna poison me with a shower. I didn't know, but this is what happened. I stayed in that shelter, and there was some woman there because they like to psychologically torture you and stuff. So she starts talking all night long, kind of like towards me or something with the psychological torture, like she's some kind of schizophrenic talking to herself, but she was really trying to irritate me and psych me out in some way. And it actually backfired on him because I ended up leaving, and I didn't come back. So I never took a shower there because of the irritation of that woman talking all night long. right next to me, so I didn't go back. I stayed in this warehouse. There was people in there. They were. I was being poisoned. They were backing up their cars to make their exhaust go in there, and they were building it up, and poisoning me. And I left. I went down to Brody Creek for a while. I camped there. They keep showing up, walking by my tent, getting out their drugs and stuff. Said, "Oh, what do you do? Do you do anything else?" I'm like, "No." And I'm like, "Get your drugs away from me, get the hell out of here." They wouldn't leave, and I'm like, and I don't want people with drugs around me. So I'm like, "Get the hell out of here before I burn you alive with my bear spray." Well, I just wanted them to leave, and they did leave. But then all of a sudden, here comes Todd's brother Steve, pretending like he's camping there too, and he came out in the woods, falling down, pretending like he's drunk. He really wanted me to come out so he could shoot me, and I know that. He kept putting ticks onto my tent, and I also camped up somewhere else by this other place. Anyway, and behind Walmart. Then I went there. I was gassed out, and they started gassing everything out in the Walmart. I can't remember which order I went to. I was camped behind Walmart for the other Walmart, 2 different Walmarts. And anyways, I came back. I came back there in desperation to this horrible warehouse. It was all poisoned. There was this black guy there named Richard. He was working for the FBI, and he told me a few things. He said that I said everything's being poisoned. I can't. I had flip-flops on. The poison was going right into my legs, my feet, and my air. I couldn't lay down anywhere without having everything crawling into me. And I went in there out of desperation, and it was more poison in there than anything. And he told me that I asked him, I said, "Who was the person that died in Denver? Who was the person that died?" He told me it was Jerry Martin Smith that died. And I go, "Oh my God." I was shocked. I was wondering what the hell's going on. I wondered if maybe the FBI killed him, or maybe he just died from the parasites, or, in the meth that he liked to shoot up and do, or maybe he opened his mouth to the wrong person. I was always there to save him when we were together, and when we weren't together anymore, of course, I wasn't there to save him, and neither was my dog Farley. So he probably got his ass beat. He was getting beat all the time by the FBI. So anyway, Richard, this black guy Richard, he told me that that the FBI that they decided that they were going to murder me, and there was no time limit. This is what he told me. And I asked him, "Well, what are they telling to everybody around in the area?" And he said they went on the news and they told everybody to keep their doors and their windows locked and to stay indoors. And I don't know what the reason that they gave to everybody, but that's what they did. And Richard, I know he was working for the FBI and doing his job and everything, but I know he sort of felt bad for what he was doing, because I told him that no, I was not guilty of whatever it was that they thought I was guilty of. But I thought he was a nice guy. I think in a different situation, I think we could have been friends or more. I showed Richard my O face. "Hi, Richard. Thank you. At least my last person I'd had sex with wasn't Jerry Martin Smith. Thank you for that." Anyways, then they put me, okay, so I left that place because it started getting so gassed out I couldn't stay there, okay? So I went up to the jail, and I'm like, "Hey, man," I was like, I wanted to get arrested or something, but I didn't have the guts to do a crime. So I'm like, "Yeah, I threw a rock through a window through that old warehouse. You got to arrest me." And they're like, "No, you got to go around to the back, and talk to them." So I went around to the back of the jail, and I was talking to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, no, we're not going to take you. You didn't do anything wrong, and And I'm like, well, I'm having chest pain. Can you call an ambulance? I think I might be having a heart attack or something. So they called an ambulance. An ambulance came out, and this is where things got really, really freaky. The ambulance showed up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm having chest pain. And they're like, and then I changed my mind. I'm like, well, I don't want to go or something. And they're like, oh, no. The cop said you were found wandering aimlessly behind here and that you told them you were suicidal. I go, what? And so the ambulance took me by force. They pushed a button behind me that let off the gas that shoots into the ambulance, and that shuts down your kidneys. And I smelled the gas, and I turned to the guy, and I go, we both know that I'm not coming out of this hospital except in a body bag. You and I both know that. And he goes, well, and he was smiling, and I go, I know you pushed a button somewhere to set off that gas. And he goes, did you see it? Did you see it? And he went behind me, and he went over to where the button was. And he's like, right here. And I go, okay, yeah. So they took me into the hospital, and then everything was fine. The air was fine. And then they said, well, we got to take you somewhere else, deeper into the hospital, to a different room. And this is, they took me back, and all of a sudden the air changed. It was filled with gases in this other part of the hospital. And all the gases were coming down. And it was really, really thick, and I could smell it. And they were poisoning me there. They took me, yeah, this was like 2 different times, I think. I'm not sure. But they took me back there, and they gassed me out. I was back there by myself, I thought, but found out Steve was in one of those rooms because he wanted to watch me die. Todd's brother, Steve. That's where he was. I took my clothes off. I threw them on the ground. I go, I came into this world naked, and I'm going out naked. And and it was really weird because I grabbed my blanket, and I went and I laid down under this blanket, and they came in. They had these fake patients come in. One of them was Jerry Martin Smith's ex, Autumn. She stole my sandwich when she left. They were spraying this stuff in the air. I heard them revving up the machine. Vroom, 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 and it was pumping more and more. They kept coming through hour after hour. I finally caught up because they were giving me pills. They gave me injections, and they checked this might have been a different time, but they checked my heart. They gave me 4 or 5 horse pills. The parasites, they take out the potassium in your body, so they use that for an excuse. Oh, you're low on potassium. You need potassium. So they give you these huge horse pills that aren't potassium. 4 or 5 of them. They're all super not to kill you. It's to kill you, shut down your kidneys, to kill you. They gave me these pills. They gave me an injection on my left side. They gave me an injection on my right side. And then they gave me an EKG. They're like, yeah, she's dying. And then they took me, and then it might have been another time. Then they took me up to the, this might have been Missouri, but I'm getting them confused. And they took me up to the hospital ward, and there was nobody there when I got there. And then they started shuffling people in there, because they were expecting me to die. And that's and then one, I think it was in Missouri though. That's where my friend Tammy Urich's son was there, taunting me and stuff and hating on me. I don't know why. I didn't kill anybody. And anyways, I don't know how I made it out of there. I stayed under that blanket there while they gassed me out from the ceiling and poisoning me. I stayed under there for almost 45 days. I stayed under that blanket, and Jesus was there with me the whole time.